Him and my little brother went to school together.
What's good? We're live. We got power rankings week 4. Chev, how you doing?
I'm ready not only for the rankings, the power rankings, but the power bottoms,
Mm.
honestly.
Yeah, so we started off doing this and just doing the bottom 5 here, but from now on Wednesdays, we're going to bring you the power rankings. We're going to start at the bottom here. We're going to start at 32, and then we're going to work our way up 5 at a time to the top. We're going to maybe look ahead after we go through some of these, talk about some matchups we're looking forward to, some matchups that teams might need. And then Chev's got some going to highlight some in the trenches play that he's really been liking as of late. You ready to do it, Chev?
Absolutely.
All right. My first power bottom fives, the boots and the fur. I got Tennessee coming in at 32, 0-3. Got the New York Football Giants coming in at 0-3. The Miami Dolphins up a couple spots here, and we're going to get a change bar for your pleasure over there to see where they were in the past couple of weeks. I got Miami coming up a few spots here. I like the fight I saw in Miami. I saw just they had a little bit of a look in their eye on the last one, a little bit of fire. New Orleans at 29. And then I got the Houston Texans coming in at 28. So a bunch of 0-3 teams down here to start it off. Houston, we have a problem, and it's just been ugly. So, Chev, who's your bottom 5?
Well, kicking off the episode, and again, thanks for having me here. I'm super excited to talk about how bad my favorite team is, and it's the worst fucking team in the league. All right. 32, Tennessee. 31, the Giants. 30, Miami. As you alluded to, there's a look. It's not the worst anymore. 29, the Saints. And 28 is the New York Football Jets.
A little low on the Jets there. Okay.
Little low, little timeout for the Jets.
All right. Next 5 I got for you, for your pleasure here. I'm going New England. I'm going the Dallas Cowboys. I'm going Carolina Panthers, Cincinnati Bengals, and the Chicago Bears. So it's got a couple of big markets down there in the just out of the power bottoms, in the zone of like, I don't really know what you are. I think you're pretty bad, but maybe there's a little bit of hope there. Chev, who's your bottom? Who's the next 5 for you?
Well, we're going to start it with another AFC South team, the Houston Texans. And then we're going New England Patriots, Dallas Cowboys, Carolina Panthers, and the Cincinnati Bengals.
All right. Who are you most hopeful in this group here that you think could make a move?
I want to say that, man, out of this group right here, I would have to say I'm most hopeful for the Texans.
Okay.
Like that they could turn it around. It would be the Texans. Like that would be who I'm rooting for, because they have the quarterback, they have the head coach, we believe, they have the defense. It's just what is, like, the offensive line plays putrid. They've lost to some really good teams, right? I think they can turn. I think they're still a decent team, but it's hard to start making the case when good teams find a way to win those close games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Texans can't seem to finish it. I would say New England kind of has a team that by the end of the year, I feel like, I don't know if the total is going to reflect it, but I feel like they could be projecting up a little bit. I think they could get that defense kind of together and maybe find some semblance of an offense. But Drake May right now, I think is playing decent football, just seemingly kind of carrying them boys on the back. Just nobody's really helping him out that much on offense at this point. Like, we did the P-Whopper show last night, and Diggs was no good. And basically Hunter Henry's their best player on offense, according to the analytics from Joseph last night. So, but I do think that they could, project a little moving forward. And I have Chicago in this tier as well. And we were kind of talking off air a little bit. They're missing a lot of key pieces on defense, and they should get some of them back. I don't know if they'll get their best corner Johnson back. They say he's hopeful for maybe part of the back half of the year, but they're missing a linebacker. They're missing two of their best players in the Tremaine or TJ Edwards and
Yes.
Jalen Johnson
Yeah.
right now, and those are big losses. Those are tough
TJ
things to
Edwards.
kind of get over when you're, they just seem to give up chunk plays, and the defenses where those guys could really be helping anchor down a little bit. You also are missing another corner right now. So I think we could see the Bears ramping up a little bit. And if Caleb could just be a hair more stable on his, week to week, I think,
Correct.
they could certainly put themselves in a better position. And we need to see this run game stay fairly stable as well. So I know you have Chicago maybe 1 or 2 ahead of where I have them. So you don't have them in here, but how do you feel about Chicago?
I mean, I have Chicago. Chicago's at 22 here for me.
Mm-hmm. So they'd be in our next 5.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel really good about, I feel really not good about where I feel offensively. I feel good about where they're headed, and knowing that they're going to be able to get TJ Edwards back. I don't think people understand what TJ Edwards means, but he's kind of he's a chess piece in the front 7. Like he makes plays in coverage. He can rush the passer. He's a great tackler in the open field. He kind of, and he's a tone setter for that defense. So when they get him back, there's, guys that are more, he's the leader. He's able to, he's able to be that presence with his play and his leadership. So that's a reason why I think that this team's going to start to trend in more of a positive direction defensively, as opposed to what they've been, the last quarter of the Vikings game. And then, at various points, against the Lions, well, really in the second half against the Lions. And they got it together a little bit more this week against the Cowboys. So more of that potentially, but they've got some talented pieces in place already.
Yeah. And Noah Sewell, I think has kind of stuck out to me as playing pretty well in, kind of mop up duty, and hasn't been around very long. I think I'm looking it up right now. 5th round pick in 2023. Right.
Yeah.
And he's playing pretty well. He hasn't played a ton, but when they have that Edwards and Edwards, law firm in there playing linebacker, I feel like it's a completely different team, right? And
yes,
I saw how good the other Edwards was last week. Obviously, Dallas is struggling at the moment, but I'm liking the Bears. But obviously, all we do is talk about Caleb. But it's a team sport, right? And they are missing some key cogs in the wheels on defense.
Yeah, I mean, here's the deal. If you have a defense that's going to force turnovers and give your young quarterback more opportunities, more short fields to experience success, what do you think that does for his learning curve?
Right.
Like that only increases and enhances his chances of being successful. So they forced 2 turnovers last week against the Cowboys. Caleb, I believe, they scored off of those. I'd have to go back and verify, but I mean, it doesn't matter. They forced 2 turnovers. They gave him 2 extra opportunities.
They took a touchdown off the board because one of them was definitely in the red zone.
Right. And they're, so giving those guys opportunities to get back out there to find that chemistry, it leads me to believe that there's reason for hope, and this could turn around sooner than later, but I'm not quite ready to jump off that bridge yet. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Let's keep it moving. Next, I'm going to hop in here at 22. I got the Jets coming in. I've got Atlanta coming in at 21. I've got Vegas coming in at 20. I've got Jacksonville at 19. And then I've got the Cleveland Browns coming in at 18, right? I got the Jets a little higher than when you had them. They played a tough game versus Pittsburgh week 1, which, we don't exactly know where Pittsburgh stands just yet. But tough, tight game. That one could have went either way. And then, this past week, they battled back against the Bucks. And then, Baker put the team on his back, and Baker is apparently just ice cold these days, and went down there and him and Ibuka put on a show. So I think there's a little bit of more hope for where the Jets are. I got them slightly higher than you do. Atlanta's somebody that we got to see something out of this week. Vegas, I have no idea what to make of. That offensive line just stinks. Jacksonville could easily be 3-0, and certainly would be the worst 3-0 team in the league. But, I think they have a chance to continue to improve under first year. Liam Cohen's trying to do a lot with Jacksonville. This was, the fact that he is where he is, right, and where Jacksonville is in the position that they're in currently, I think is a says a decent amount about where they could be heading. Now they could be a disaster, and I know a lot of people really don't like Trevor Lawrence at the moment, but I think we just have to get over that. He's good, not great, right? And maybe he continued. He's still only 25 years old. He's played a ton of football, but he's still relatively young. And I don't know if him and Liam Cohen are going to be a match made in heaven or not, but I do have to at least put a tiny bit of respect on the Jags name, but I'm really not 100% sure exactly what to do with them kind of moving forward. And then I just have Cleveland up here because I think that defense is really good. I think, I don't know what Flacco can or can't do. The reemergence of Judkins could be huge. They played the Packers, which we think are a really, really good team and a really, really good defense. And everyone needs to be a little lucky to win in this league. They got a little lucky. They won the game there. I think Cleveland's defense can just hold them kind of mid-pack for most of the season here. So I've got Cleveland there coming in at 18. Who's your next 5, Chev?
Yeah, we already talked about the Bears a bunch. 21's Cleveland. I like what they have going on with we'll talk about what's keeping them afloat here in a second. At 20, you've got the Falcons. At 19, the Jaguars. Again, just really from 22 to really like 16, maybe even 15, 16, 22 to 16 for sure. For me, I would say that there's just a lot of uncertainty in my mind about what they actually are. And so, like I said, 20, Atlanta, 19, Jacksonville, 18 is going to be the Las Vegas Raiders. And I don't feel great about that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm with you. I'm with you. All right, let's keep it moving here. Let's pick it up at 17. I got Arizona coming in at 17. I got Pittsburgh coming in at 16. Minnesota coming in at 15. The Washington Commanders at 14 and the Denver Broncos at 13. We're starting to get into the group of much better football teams. I don't exactly know where Arizona ranks. I'm going to be super interested in this Arizona Seattle matchup here in this week. Would I be surprised if Arizona gets Seattle? Not really, but I do really like this Seattle defense. Pittsburgh, super questionable on a lot of accounts here, but I could see that turning a page here. Minnesota, we're wondering what this quarterback position can hold for the year. Washington, I want to like, but I don't know. I feel questionable about them. And then, we were kind of talking a little bit about Denver, who's the next team on there, a little bit beforehand of like what to do with. So I feel like we're at that point in the league where we think we know some stuff, but we're not really sure on a whole lot of guys. Or a whole lot of teams. So who's your next 5 here, Chev?
Same as you, 17, Arizona, 16, Pittsburgh, 15, Kansas City, 14, Minnesota, 13, Baltimore.
Okay. Oh, Baltimore at 13. Spicy little drop in them. You don't like the record and the big home loss?
It's not the record. It's the defense. They gotten 40 balled by 2 Super Bowl contenders in 2 out of the 3 weeks this season. And then they just got ran. The one thing is usually when Baltimore has a bad run defense, a bad passing defense, it's like, man, it's just, they send a bunch of pressure and they take a bunch of risk. But this is them getting run on and, not really being able to generate pass rush. They are missing Kyle Van Noy and Nnamdi, I believe formerly named Justin Matabike. And I think he's a neck injury. So they're missing some key pieces up front that I think would fix a lot of that. Yes, but that defense has been kind of hit or miss. They did hit on Malachi Starks, though. He's been pretty good. And of course, Kyle Hamilton is what he is, and Roquan. So I believe their other linebacker, the Simpson, I think his name is. I think he's being exploited a bit. So I'm unsure. I'm like, the reason that they're 13 and still, like, in my heart, you can't tell me that Baltimore's not a top 5 talented team that they could beat. They could just turn it on and house any one of these teams ahead of them.
Right. That's why I have them a little higher, because
Right.
I got faith in the organization has given me something to believe in. Whereas Commanders, I don't know. Denver, I don't know. Minnesota, maybe if they had a quarterback, I might have thrown them up a little higher here. Pittsburgh's, kind of been mid-pack for a minute here. So I've got them a little higher, but I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. I mean,
Yeah, it should be better. Like, we all understand that it should be better,
yeah,
but it's not better. So we
yeah.
have to,
I mean,
2 times it's not been better, and now I go from you're a top 5 team to, like, I know you're still a top 10 team, but I'm putting you in the corner until you show me you're a top 10 team again.
yeah. I don't I don't know. They the Buffalo game, they easily could have beat them without a without a Derrick Henry fumble, and then Derrick Henry fumble turns the tide in that Lions game as well, right? So
Right.
without 2 uncharacteristic fumbles from Henry here, we could be talking about Buffalo in a completely different, or rather Baltimore in a completely different light, right? So I really struggled to keep him as low as I did, and I'm even a little higher than you are. So let's jump into the last 12. We'll do 6 at a time, and then we can kind of discuss that field. So at number 12, I'm bringing in Kansas City. At number 11, I got Baltimore. At number 10, I got the Seattle Seahawks. At 9, I have San Francisco. At 8, I have Indianapolis. At 7, I have the Detroit Lions. And at 6, I guess I'll stop at 7. We'll do the final 6. So at 7, I got Detroit. What's your 12 through 7 here, Chev?
I've got Denver at 12, and that's another team that I felt like I was certain about. But if we asked the question, who would you be most hopeful for to turn it around out of this group, out of the previous group, and this, like, and then kicking off this area right here, I'd be hopeful that Denver could turn it around. Like, they're running the ball well. They lost to some good teams. I mean, we've got to adjust. And we're going to talk about this in a second. So Denver's at 12. Washington is at 11. They're able to get W's without playing their best. You've got some easy W's out of the way. Good. Okay. 10, Seattle. Let's believe it. I was wrong about Sam Darnold. I was wrong. It is what it is.
Oh, you're a Sammy D fan now.
Yeah, I didn't say that. I just said I was wrong. Number 9, San Fran. Okay. Stacking W's. It's important. Division W's. 2 division W's. That's huge. That's major. Okay. 3-0. Number 9. Number 8, Indianapolis. Let's believe it. Gotta believe it. Gotta believe it. Huge test this week. Some real power ranking shakeup behind that. And then number 7, Detroit. We've seen it be good twice now. That offense has been elite twice now. It's time to believe it, boys. It's time to believe it. And if they stay healthy, yes. So Detroit 7, they could be higher pending, some activity this week. So there you go.
I like it. All right, I'm gonna run through this top 6, and we'll discuss, some things we like, some things we don't like. I got the Rams at 6. I've got Tampa at 5. I've got the Green Bay Packers at 4. The Philadelphia Eagles at 3. The Buffalo Bills at 2. And I think the best team in the league right now is the Chargers, and hasn't really changed for me. Where are you at here for the top 6 teams right now in the power?
Buddy. Well, you know how I feel about things that I feel, and I'm going with Los Angeles at 6. I mean, look, for a half, they were the best team in the NFC, and then the Super Bowl champions reminded us that they're the Super Bowl champions for a reason. It's like they just woke up and were like, "Hey, man, we're about to lose. We got to get our shit together." So, LA's at 6. Still really impressed. Now, I'm excited about the Bucks. So the Bucks come in at 5. Green Bay, my number 1 from last week. They lose on the road to an insane Browns defense. They dropped to 4. 3, Buffalo, still standing pat there. 2, Philadelphia, and 1. The new number 1 for me is going to be the Los Angeles Chargers.
New number 1 for you, huh? Where were they?
They were either 2 or 3.
Okay. So not a big.
No, nothing crazy. But I remember. I know I had Green Bay at 4. I mean Green Bay at 1, and now they're at 4. So Los Angeles is probably somewhere in that 1, like 2, 3, 4 range.
Yeah. I think LA is the best team in the league. I think Herbert's playing the best. Obviously, a Khalil Mack injury is a bummer, and a Najee injury is a bummer. But what's going on right there? How well Herbert's playing, and this defense is, plugging right along. The staff is good. The roster's good, and I think they got the best quarterback play going right now. Obviously, Josh Allen's playing some great quarterback as well, and so is Jalen Hurts. And Baker's playing some good quarterback. That's kind of what, a lot of these teams represented in here have good quarterback play in the top 6, 7, 8 right now. As crazy that is for Indianapolis Colts to say Daniel Jones has got top level quarterback play currently.
That's wild.
Let's take Indy out of it, because I think that's a quick to say, like, yeah, we could see Indy fading out of here, but who do you think could fade out of this list the easiest? And I've been skeptical of the Bucks. There's a decent amount of injuries, but and they just keep kind of stacking up, but they keep getting it done. And Baker looks awesome. What do you
what do you want him to do?
Yeah,
what
I know.
What do you want them to do?
I just don't have a feeling that they're like in the elite. I gotta have them up here. I came into this with LA above them, and then I was like, I gotta give Tampa some respect, and throw them up there. And like now, after the last 2 games, I feel like I kind of would probably take Detroit over them too. But I wanted to put some respect on the Bucks names here. I don't feel as confident about them throughout the entirety of the season being like on the level of some of these other teams.
I mean, here's the thing. They have a history of beating every single one of the teams that they have to beat to get to the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
They beat them already. They beat the Eagles in the playoffs.
Yeah, they got the Eagles this week. It's gonna be hot.
They beat the shit out of the Eagles last year in Tampa. So they're one of the few teams
that was early.
It was still. I mean,
Eagles got right and didn't lose another game.
I mean, maybe if they played Tampa again, they would have. Styles make fights, and I think that they're just, for some reason, Tampa matches up well with the best teams in the NFC. And I'm not saying that they're better than them, but they're going to win more of these games than we give them credit for. So, that would be easy. I would say the team that I guess would be most likely to drop out of this glut. So are we going 12-1, or like anybody in the 12-1, or what?
Yeah, I mean, really, anybody in there necessarily could anybody.
I mean, Indy feels like the low-hanging fruit.
Right, that's why I didn't really want to.
But I mean, are they though? Are they? Like, if we're being for real, okay, if you put them on the 2024 Vikings, Vikings type of spectrum, like, they're not turning the ball over. They're scoring a ton of points. They've got a ridiculous running game, and that division is sweet.
Right.
They don't even have to deal with what the Vikings had to deal with to be a top tier NFC team. Like, they just got to win 10 games, and they're already 3-0.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's a tough one for me. I would have to say,
I mean, I think San Francisco could fall out of this pretty easily.
That it would be injury dependent. If Brock Purdy is healthy and CMC is healthy, you're not. I mean, you're winning those. You're stacking those W's at quarter at half mast.
They're doing the opposite of what the Chiefs are doing, down some offensive players, and obviously none of the offensive players are necessarily Rashee Rice or maybe even Xavier Worthy for the most part that they're kind of missing. Although Brandon Ayuk is a very good player, and Kittle is on the level of any tight end in the league. But they're getting the wins, whereas Kansas City's losing the close ones. San Francisco's winning the close ones.
Yeah.
Kansas
that
City's
was
probably played some tougher competition.
yeah.
So
Casey was due to regress on the one score games. Like eventually, like you can't continue to win one score games at the rate that they were winning them with Patrick Mahomes.
yeah, I still have all the faith in the world in the Chiefs. I think they're going to get right and be bulldozing some people. So I don't.
I think it's a struggle, but they're going to be a ridiculously feisty. They're going to be a ridiculously feisty playoff team. Like a tough out, once they get everybody back to full strength, and then obviously you don't want to see Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. No, regardless of who you are, what your record is, that's just he's the boogeyman to everyone over there.
Right. All right. So what's the most must-win game of the week right here?
Brother. Oh. There's a lot. There's some teams that we gotta find some stuff out about, right?
Yeah.
We gotta find some stuff out about Denver.
Yeah.
We gotta find some stuff out about Kansas City and the Ravens. That's the must-win game of the week.
See, I think because of the records, yes, but like I think both of those teams are most likely going to be fine. I think the Chiefs are going to be fine as well. Like I feel like the Chiefs will definitely be fine. They got a decent defense, they got a good defense, and they should get the band back together as long as all the other parts and pieces can stay healthy. They haven't been very great at running the ball. Maybe your guy Brashard Smith should get in there a little more. Maybe we should see a little bit more of him. Thornton's making a nice little emergence. If you could put all those players back on the field, you have Thornton stretching with as well as Xavier Worthy being able to do some things. You get Hollywood in there, and Rashi back. I think this Kansas City. I think there's going to be a lot of people on the back half of the schedule that are going to get bulldozed by Kansas City, and I think it's to be expected. Ravens are clouded with not enough, not gritty enough. I feel like the Ravens have to have this game a little more than the Chiefs because at least there's a little bit more excuse built in for the Chiefs. But the Chiefs have a bit of a tougher division right now. Obviously, the best team that we're saying in the league is in the Chiefs division. Raiders, we don't know anything about, but Denver is a wild card that I feel like could get really, really hot and tough to deal with at any point. We haven't seen Trey Greenlaw on that team at all, and he's a real difference maker of just kind of changes the tone of that defense. And obviously, it's already a very good defense, but not quite as good as what we were expecting from Denver. So, I think that's an easy must win. I'm very intrigued. Like it feels like if the Colts get over the Rams here, it really puts them into territory where everybody's going to be a bit more of a believer. So I don't know if it's a must win, but I feel like it gives them a lot of clout.
You have no choice but to respect them as what's likely going to be the division winner. And, they will have defeated at that point 2 2024 playoff teams. And Miami was a contender and they absolutely obliterated them, but we're not going to count that because we know Miami sucks this year in 2025. But 2 playoff teams in 4 victories. And, Daniel Jones hasn't turned the ball over at all. I don't think they've turned the ball over as an offense at all. We've got that on the thing. Their turnover column is blank. So they haven't turned the ball over at all. They're forcing turnovers. Kenny Moore did get hurt. That's an important thing. Yeah. He's one of, if not the best slot corner in the entire NFL. So like, it's all kind of coming together for them to be the Cinderella team, right? Like we laughed, like we said it jokingly in the offseason, right? It was, hey man, if this Daniel Jones thing, it could be a boat, but we're all saying it through gritted teeth. Nobody gave it the just due that Shane Steichen could actually coach quarterbacks, and Anthony Richardson just wasn't ready. So you got an adult in there at quarterback, and it's working for the first time since Luck retired. Like this is the most stable play that they've had since Luck retired. You had flashes with Wentz, but it was, literally a mystery box with him. Just hit the button. It's like, man, if he does something good, then like there's a tsunami in Thailand or some shit. Like I don't know. Like it's just wild. So I think they have a legitimate shot to win this game.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I'm with you. All right, let's look at some Profitex lines here. Pay a couple of bills. What's good? You know the phrase, the house always wins. Well, not anymore with our sponsor, Profitex. Profitex is America's #1 sports prediction market. It's a peer-to-peer sports prediction market where users play against each other instead of a sports book versus the house. You'll almost always get the best price on any spread, money line, or total player prop, since you're playing against people rather than the book. Looks just like a sports book, but with way better odds. Use promo code FFD when you're signing up. Get yourself little $200 in profit cash on all plays in the first $30 or 30 days playing on site. Terms and conditions obviously apply. I've been kind of talking about this Philly Tampa line here, the 3.5, the extra hook there. The offensive line banged up with Tampa is certainly a concern with this defense of Philadelphia. Anything you've been particularly liking this week? But this was the first one that stuck out to me. Going to be hot down there. I live in the South. You live in the South. It's gotten a lot more hot and humid over the last couple of days here. It's supposed to be a hot one down in Tampa. Not that necessarily has anything to do with anything, but if if all of a sudden you're hot and bothered and you're not used to it, we've seen stranger things. I just like the extra half you're getting there.
Right.
Is real nice right there. Any player props or any other lines really stick out to you?
I'm looking, and I think that I like the AJ Brown over 59.5 receiving yards. Yeah, I like AJ Brown over 59.5 receiving yards. And if we're gonna do a bring back, I would probably go Bucky over 22.5 receiving yards.
It feels like Bucky should be able to have some decent receptions. We're down a bunch of receivers. What's Sterling Shepard's total? Is it on here?
I don't see Sterling Shepard's total on here yet.
He'd be an interesting one in there.
Play the receptions on that bad boy.
I like Bucky over Irving over 22.5 should be nice. So little Profitex, use promo code FFD. If you haven't signed up, what are you waiting for? It's available in a lot of areas, so make sure you check that out. So Wirfs is back. So Forrest says, I'm can't confirm nor deny that, but I'll take your word for it. And is Gedeke back, or is he still out?
Is Gedeke back for us? Please help us out here, please.
All right, Chev. What do we got going on in the trenches right now? What do you like?
Talk to me. I'm going to talk to you real nice about a top 5 pick. And I thought he had a ridiculous ceiling. He's just very, very, very just fat. Like, he's elite in every single way. And I think he trimmed down a little bit too much going into the combine. But we're talking about the Cleveland Browns defensive line that pretty much just won them the game on Sunday against the Green Bay Packers. They were 8-point underdogs at home, and Mason Graham was the key cog to all this, outside of, what he was able to do with the freedom that Myles Garrett creates. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but there's a hilarious clip where he puts a move on a tackle and the tackle just screams to Jordan Love to run.
Yeah.
And there's, they get back to the sideline and Myles Garrett's like making fun of the dude, screaming run. But Mason Graham had a 43% pressure rate and pass rush win rate, and the average for a defensive tackle is 9. But if you know anything about Mason Graham, out of the University of Michigan, he was selected as the 5th overall pick for a reason. He's got all the tools, and playing inside with being able to the freedom to play with Malik Collins, who's another incredible pass rusher. This is my thing. I know way too much about defensive tackles and what they're doing and stuff. So it's really exciting to see a guy like Mason Graham get off to such a fast start. I think he's leading all rookie defensive tackles in pressures right now with 6. So Mason Graham. He kicked ass this week. So did Malik Collins. And of course, this is all Myles Garrett sets the table for everybody else to be able to have all the freedom to do whatever the fuck they want. So really excited about what the Browns did. And then on the flip side, the Lions defensive line, Al-Quadin Muhammad had 2.5 sacks. He
was great.
Yeah. And he had a great post-game quote. I won't butcher it, but it was absolutely incredible. But that, the Detroit Lions defensive line sacked Lamar 7 times. Now, it's not is it a function of them playing really sticky coverage and Lamar just being able to create something, or just not really even caring that somebody's spying him or getting really close to him? Yeah, part of it is that, but they absolutely caged Lamar in, didn't really let him have any meaningful scrambles. They were there. And, I thought that this was an opportunity for Lamar to get loose because they do play so much man coverage. Kelvin Shepard basically just kind of wash, rinse, and repeat of what Aaron Glenn was doing. So the Detroit Lions defensive line, really their defense in general, but their defensive line really took a step. And I mean, if they're back healthy, this is going to be a problem for a lot of teams. So Browns in the AFC, Lions in the NFC. That's what's going on in the trenches.
I like it. I love the look into the trenches. A lot of good stuff, a lot of good insight there from Chev. All right, we're gonna wrap this one up and take it over to the Patreon side of things. Still workshopping this power rankings Wednesday live show here, trying to figure it out. I think next week maybe we'll just start at the top 10 or 12 and go there, and maybe leave out the bottom guys. Maybe talk a little worse, make some jokes at the worst guys, but maybe leave out the intermediate stuff right now. But like I said, still workshopping this one, still trying to figure this out. So appreciate you guys coming back and checking us out. Everybody in the chat, you guys have been great. Come back Mondays at 11. We're doing the recap show every Monday at 11 Eastern. So make sure you're checking that out. And then Chev and Joseph and Jeremiah got the gambling show live Fridays. So make sure you guys are checking that out. If you're not checking that out, I don't know what you're doing, because there's so much good information coming out.
We just hit again. We just hit again. So yeah, the model is modeling, and he's got it. Like the P Whopper thing is incredible for fantasy, but he's got a gambling model that's even better. So y'all need to tap in.
Yeah, come on over. All right, we'll see you on the Patreon. Peace.